Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands! In today's video we play Kill Team with the Exaction Squad against the Death Guard. I'm Simone and I play the Arbites.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I will be playing the Death Guard. Before we start, if you are subscribed to the channel, welcome back! If you're not subscribed yet and want to help us, join a growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys!
Today's mission is Cryptogrammic Raid. The two kill teams will have to deploy within these areas. There are 5 points of interest and they are arranged in this way. The operatives will be able to carry out the action raid data on the consoles to score victory points.
Each player gains 1 victory point every time the action raid data is completed, 1 additional victory point if an enemy operative was the last one to perform the action on that terrain feature, and 2 more victory points if the action is done on the console in the enemy drop zone. Each team can access every console only a maximum of 3 times, and each console can be activated only 1 time each turn. The consoles in our own drop zone cannot be activated by friendly operatives. The data stolen from the city archives is encrypted. It will take time to decrypt everything. Your job is to defend the consoles with your life, and once the decryption program is finished, take everything and leave. The kill team is formed by 2 Plague Marines per team. The first team consists of a Plague Marine champion, my leader, equipped with Plasma Pistol and Power Fist, a Plague Marine gunner with his trusty plasma gun, and a Plague Marine warrior. The second fair team consists of a Plague Marine heavy gunner, armed with a Blight launcher, a Plague Marine icon bearer, and a Plague Marine warrior. As additional equipment, I gave Mephitic Toxin to every operative but the leader, for a total of 10 equipment points.
An Exaction Squad has been tasked with recovering important files before they can be corrupted by the Death Guard within a base that was recently stormed by Nurgle's followers. The orders are clear: eliminate any enemy threat that stands between the team and the terminals, recover the data and leave the base. The team leader is an Arbites Proctor Exactant, armed with a Dominator Maul and Assault Shield. The second in command is the Revelatum, ready to take command should the need arise. 2 Arbites Gunners are the team's heavy support. One is armed with a grenade launcher, the other is equipped with a Weber. To keep the team under control and punish those who break the rules, there is the Castigator. This model is wonderful. Then there is the Malocator who takes care of communications, and the Marksman to offer support from the rear. The unit also has a Leash Master and his trusty RVR Cyber Mastiff, in case they need to track enemies. And finally we have 2 Subductors with their shields, the first line of defense of the team. As equipment, I gave a reinforced mirror visor and manacles to both Subductors, and more manacles to the Revelatum and Malocator.
I decided to deploy all my operatives as close as possible to the entrances of the rooms with the consoles. Since the Death Guard is really slow, I cannot afford to waste time running around the map.
I deployed the team dividing it in 2. On the left, there are the Marksman, the Gunner with the Grenade Launcher, the Mastiff, the Leader, the Leash Master and the Castigator. Their job will be to deal with the console in the room in front of them. On the right side is the rest of the squad, with the 2 Subductors ready to engage the enemies, while the others will take care of carrying out the mission at the console in the lower room. It's time to do the scouting phase. Each of us chooses a number of dice equal to the corresponding number of the choice, 1 for Fortify, 2 for Infiltrate and 3 for Recon. Grey dice for the Arbites and green dice for the Death Guard. We both chose Recon, so the initiative will be with the attacker, in this case the Death Guard. The defender initiates the scouting action, then my Castigator dashes forward towards the door.
My champion dashes 3 inches forward, reaching the door in front of him.
Thanks to his ability first in the field, the Revelatum can take a free normal move action after the initiative phase of the first turn, so he moves forward reaching the door. In the strategy phase, I reveal the TAC of Seize or Incapacitate. I choose an enemy model. If I manage to incapacitate it, I gain a victory point and place a marker where it was. If at the end of the game I control that marker, I gain another victory point.
Mark opens the door in front of him and then with movement and dash goes inside the room.
Dominic moves towards his companion and, like a good gentleman, opens the door for him.
Luna, the gunner with the plasma gun, uses movement and dash to reach the console inside the room and then does the mission action raid data.
My leader moves inside the corridor and with the second action opens the door.
Anderson reaches the breachable wall of the room on his right with movement and dash, and with his third action, he places the demolition charge.
The Revelatum is in a perfect position to reach the console. Once there, Azevet performs the mission action, earning a victory point.
The other warrior, Alex, moves, opens the door on his right, and dashes inside the room.
Radel reaches the door in front of him, then opens it to allow the others to pass.
Naomi, the icon bearer, walks a little bit forward.
The Malocator moves towards the corridor to get closer to the action.
Marvin reaches his friend in the room on his right with movement and dash.
The Castigator with movement and dash reaches the console and takes cover. The Marksman chooses a good position from which he's able to keep an eye on the room. The Leash Master moves next to the Malocator inside the corridor. Then I reveal the Tacop Gather Evidence. The Malocator, the Revelatum, and the Cyber Mastiff are able to carry out the action Gather Evidence on the consoles. At the end of the game, if 2 or more of those who performed this action are still alive, they gain victory points. In this case, Wolf, the Mastiff, performs the action. After that, Vody reaches the open door, and finally the other Subductor also approaches the room. End of turn.
As always, the first turn was just movement. Simone managed to reach the console in the room on the upper part of the battlefield, but has only one operative in the room, so he will not be a problem.
As I expected, the first round was just movement, which is why I didn't use any ploy. I managed to complete the first action of the mission, and I have a model next to the second console. I'm in a great position to start the second turn.
Second turn. Rolling for initiative.
Okay, 4 isn't too bad.
Nice! A1. You're first.
In the strategy phase, I use Dispense Justice. If my models don't move more than the normal movement distance, they can reroll an attack dice. Then I reveal the Tacop Central Control. If at the end of the turn I control the center of the kill zone, I gain a victory point.
I reveal the Tacop Damage Limitation. If at the end of the turning point no operatives on my team are incapacitated, I score a victory point.
The Castigator stands next to the console and takes the mission action immediately, so the Death Guard cannot take the action at this point of interest this turn.
Anderson dashes away from the wall not to be in range of the explosion, then opens the door near him and goes on guard.
The Revelatum performs the second action of the mission, gaining another victory point, and also performs the action of the Tacop Gather Evidence. Now he too will have to try to stay alive and ensure my victory points.
Mark gets closer to the breachable wall and plants a charge. With his last action, he opens the door behind him.
Dominic manages to reach the barrier with movement and dash, ready to receive the enemies.
Naomi detonates the charge on the wall of the upper room and moves inside the room on her left. Then she does the action Icon of Decay. Every agent within 3 inches of her can reroll 1s and 2s when rolling for Disgustingly Resilient.
The gunner with the Weber enters the room and hides behind the console.
Marvin moves near the breachable wall and places the breach charge.
Theon joins his companions and places himself directly behind the console. I think I can say I have control of this room.
Alex detonates the charge and then charges the Arbites near the console.
The Leash Master repositions himself further back, realizing that the upper room is more important. Wolf now has the sole task of surviving, so he passes the turn.
Luna does the mission action, then moves behind the champion and goes on guard.
The Marksman dashes to get within 6-inch range of the target, and then uses the ability Ruthless Efficiency, which allows him to fire at models in close combat with other allied operatives, also gaining penetration 1. 4 shots at 3+. 2 critical hits thanks to Lethal 5+, and 2 more normal hits.
-1 penetration, so Alex saves with 2 dice at 3+. Only 1 save. The Death Guard has the ability Disgustingly Resilient. Every time they suffer a wound, they can roll a dice. With 5+, that wound is ignored. Alex suffered 12 wounds, so rolling 12 dice at 5+. Only 4 wounds ignored. Luckily, Death Guard's operatives cannot be injured. Alex is left with only 4 wounds.
The gunner moves further to the side to get a better view of the room. The Malocator moves together with the group of operatives near the upper room. Shane is in a good position, so he passes his turn. Okay, all in all, I can't complain about the second round. I'm a little disappointed with the Marksman. I exposed him too much hoping to eliminate the Marine next to the objective, but I underestimated the terrifying toughness of the Death Guard. At least I managed to complete more mission actions than Andrea.
Nice! In this round I gain 1 victory point since none of my operatives have been incapacitated. Alex is not in a good shape, but that's not a problem. He lured the enemy marksman in the room, and with a little luck and the initiative, in the next turn I'll be able to eliminate him without problems.
Rolling for initiative. Oh yeah, 5!
6! The initiative is mine! In the strategy phase, I spend a command point for the strategic ploy Contagion. Every enemy operative within 2 inches from my models is considered injured.
This turn 2, I use deploy Dispense Justice to reroll an attack dice in combat.
Marvin moves inside the room. With his second action, he does the mission action on the console, and since in the previous round Simone did the action on that console, I gain 2 victory points instead of 1. Then, with his third action, he shoots the marksman. 4 shots at 3+. All hit! Good job!
With -1 penetration, I have no chance of saving him, so I remove him directly. I was afraid it would happen. The Castigator, Unella, fights the Marine. Her ability Engendered Focus allows her to ignore all modifiers, so she makes 4 attacks at 3+. 4 normal attacks, good.
Alex responds with 3 attacks at 3+. 2 crits and a normal hit.
Unella deals damage with her first attack.
Disgustingly resilient at 5+, I need to save at least 1. Nope, he's eliminated. I spend a command point for the tactical ploy Effluent Demise, and roll D3 mortal wounds to every enemy within 2 inches of the operative incapacitated, in this case, only the Castigator. D3 wounds. 3! Nice!
The Castigator can ignore wounds at 6. Wow! 2 wounds ignored, only 1 wound sustained. Ugh, how disgusting. Watch where you spill your guts, Marine.
Alex is removed from the battlefield.
6 wounds left. With her second action, Unella charges the next Marine.
Naomi moves a little bit forward, and does the mission action gaining the last victory point of that console. Then, last her action, Icon of Decay.
The Revelatum performs the second action of the mission on the console. Then, to ensure he stays alive, he moves out of the room into cover.
Anderson charges the Arbites near the console and fights. He makes 3 attacks at 2+, thanks to his friend in combat with him. 1 crit and 2 normal hits.
4 attacks at 3+ for the Castigator, who ignores modifiers. Thanks to the Rending rule, a normal attack turns into a critical attack. 2 successful critical attacks.
The Marine deals damage with his crit.
I try to ignore the wounds at 6. Nope, no ignore wounds. Unella deals damage with a critical attack.
Ignoring wounds with 5+, 2 wounds ignored. And then, Anderson deals damage with the second attack.
4 more wounds to ignore at 6. No, too bad! I almost succeeded! Unella finally collapses to the ground without strength. You have done your duty, my brave Arbites.
10 wounds left to the warrior. With his last action, he goes on guard. Now, since Anderson has eliminated an enemy in combat, I can reveal the Taco, Rob and Ransack, gaining 1 victory point. If he survives the battle, I gain another victory point.
I absolutely have to enter the room to go contest that objective, so the Leash Master will act as a sacrificial ship to activate the Marine's Guard.
And the warrior is forced to shoot Overwatch on the Arbites that just moved. 3 shots at 4+. Wow, only 1 hit.
3 dice to save a single hit at 4+. Alright, I didn't expect him to survive honestly. Well done! Wolf continues to sniff the console, intent on his task of staying alive, and passes the turn.
Luna uses movement and dash to enter the other room, and then goes on guard.
The grenade launcher opens fire on the warrior behind the console, trying to take him out. 4 shots at 4+. 1 critical hit and 1 normal hit.
-1 penetration and cover, so saving 1 automatically and the other at 3+. 6! He's perfectly fine! Luna shoots Overwatch on the Arbites with the grenade launcher. She overcharges the plasma gun and makes 4 shots at 4+. Rerolling the one with a command point. Double crit! Good job!
-2 penetration is really a lot. I only have 1 dice that I can save at 4+. The gunner just got a lesson on how to eliminate an enemy with a special weapon.
Mark uses movement and dash to repositionate himself, then he goes on guard.
The Subductor moves towards the wall and places an explosive charge. Let's see if I can surprise the Marines on the other side.
I have no more operatives to activate, so I can shoot Overwatch with one of my models. Marvin aims his flight launcher at the Leash Master and shoots him 4 shots at 4+. 1 crit and 2 normal hits.
2 dice to save a 4+. Ha! There we go! Double 6! The Leash Master is still alive. He's too strong. The other Subductor detonates the explosive charge. I roll a dice. At 3+, it's D3 damage, and at 6, it's 2d3 damage on the Marine. Oh yes! 2d3 wounds! 4 total wounds! Good!
Disgustingly resilient at 5+. Rerolling both the 1 and the 2. All wounds ignored! Awesome!
With the second action, Dominic charges the Marine. Shane opens the door and moves next to the barrier in the center of the corridor, near the center of the kill zone. The Malocator closes the door and moves into the corridor. There is nothing more I can do to contest the console in that room. The Gunner with the Weber moves towards the barrier with movement and dash.
At the end of the turn, I reveal the last taco, Execution. If also in the next turn I manage to eliminate more enemy operatives than Simone, I gain a victory point. In this round, I managed to take control of the room in the upper part of the battlefield. This is really important since it allows my operatives to reposition to defend the other room in the next turn. If I manage to stop Simone from doing the mission action on the console in my control, the victory will be mine.
It's incredible how resistant the Death Guard Marines are. I'm having a really hard time trying to even wound them. Also because Andrea is rolling really well with the dice. In the next turn, I will have to try to concentrate all my operatives on the console in the room on the right.
Rolling for initiative.
Okay, another 5, great!
And 1 again. You're first.
Also in this turn, I use Deploy Dispense Justice.
And I use again Deploy Contagion.
My leader activates and charges the Marine Icon Bearer, then fights with him making 4 attacks at 3+, thanks to the Subductor who acts as support. I try to reroll the 2 with a command point. Clear dice rule, same number as before. With Lethal 5+, that's 1 critical attack and 2 normal attacks.
Naomi responds with 3 attacks at 3+. All 3 hit.
With the first dice, he defends 2 of the Marine's dice, thanks to the shield rule.
I need Naomi to stay alive, so she parries with her last attack.
With the critical attack, Shane deals damage.
Ignoring wounds with 5+, 3 wounds through. Naomi's left with 9 wounds.
I use a command point for Brutal Backup. The Subductor who was supporting can now take a free fight action. Dominic attacks the Marine making 4 attacks at 4+. 2 normal attacks.
Naomi responds again with 3 dice at 3+. Just 1.
Dominic deals damage.
And the Icon Bearer parries the last attack. 4 wounds to ignore at 5+. Just 1 wound through, that's great! Mark charges the Arbites behind the console and then fights. He makes 5 attacks at 3+. Ah, I see. Only normal attack.
The Subductor makes 4 attacks at 5+. Only 1 critical attack.
My champion deals damage with his only attack.
Dominic deals damage to the enemy leader.
Ignoring wounds at 5+. Not even 1.
I don't know how he managed to survive. 2 wounds left.
9 wounds left to Mark.
The gunner with the Weber opens fire on the Marine Icon Bearer, 5 shots at 3+. With lethal 5+, that's 2 critical hits and 2 normal hits.
Saving with 3 dice at 3+. 2 save. Ignoring wounds with 5+. 1 wound ignored. 5 wounds left to the Icon Bearer. Finally Naomi activates and does her action Icon of Decay, and then fights the injured Arbites. 3 attacks at 2+ thanks to the aid of the champion. 1 crit and 2 normal hits.
Dominic makes 4 attacks at 4. 1 critical hit and 2 normal hits. The Shock Mole has the Repress rule, which allows the Subductor to attack first and he deals damage.
And Naomi deals damage with the crit, ignoring the damage suffered with 5+, rerolling the 1 and the 2. Only 1.
As imagined, the Subductor leaves the kill zone.
2 wounds left to the Icon Bearer. She's alive!
Unfortunately, there is nothing more I can do to win the game. The victory goes to the Death Guard. What a struggle it was to play this match against the Death Guard. I feel like I don't have enough damage to take down the Marines. Andrea rolled a lot of good dice to ignore the wounds, and the open space between my drop zone and the console in the upper room caused me a lot of problems. What a pity.
Wow, what an incredible battle! Despite being just a companion team, the Death Guard is proving to be really strong. They have a huge firepower, can ignore wounds, and have a lot of objective control. The only thing they miss is the movement. They're really slow. Fortunately in this mission, I didn't have to move a lot to reach the objectives, otherwise it would have been a problem.
Before finishing, we would like to take a moment to thank our members who have decided to support us on Patreon. And if you guys want to support the channel and enjoy an additional and exclusive battle report per month, or see your models showcased in our videos, the Patreon link is in the description. We are waiting for you on Discord.
And if you have come this far, write the word beefy in the comments to let us know. You are the best. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys.
See you next video.